So I wanted to talk today about the recent tragic murder-suicide of the Stuart family. They were actually ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and this happened 10 days ago, or 9 days ago. In my opinion, this is a result of the ostracism that they felt. They were shunned from the organization after they reportedly left the religion about 5 years ago over doctrinal and social issues. You know, for anyone that was looking at their life from the outside, they looked to have it all. Happy, apparently the marriage, they were really close, 2 peas in a pod, I read. The 2 adult children, they were going to college. You know, they seemed like a really close family, and you know, they were rebuilding their life. So Lauren, the mother, she was rebuilding her career, I suppose, in starting a modeling career. She was a personal trainer, so healthy, right? The husband, Dan, he was into tech. He had just got a contract with the University of Michigan, I believe it was, to develop something that would detect heart attacks, I think, along that line. Anyway, so a lot of things were happening, sounded really good. You know, from the outside, as it always looks, from anybody looking in on someone, everything's great, right? We can all relate to that, I'm sure. Where you just didn't see it coming, that sort of thing, right? So yeah, you don't see those things, and but apparently, so her friend that's sharing some of the signs that she saw when she was talking to authorities, she shared that Lauren had told her that Dan, the husband, was prone to depression, so there's something there, a possible flag. And that so his friend also said that Lauren herself was in emotional distress, and she felt very alone. And this was all about, I think, a week before she actually murdered the family and committed suicide. So her friends also said that Lauren really struggled with the anguish of being ostracized from the religion, and that both she and her husband were raised in. You know, she'd even go to the grocery store, and she'd see, you know, former friends, Jehovah's Witnesses, that would see her and then just like look the other way, like wouldn't even make eye contact with her. I mean, I've had that happen to myself, and it is, quite frankly, so like, you're like, oh my God, did that just happen? Like, it is so jarring as an action towards you, where you're just like, what am I, dirt? Like, you have such a strange feeling, and psychologically we don't even know what that is, because it just happens in an instant and then it's done, and you're like, huh, and then you go on, but that effect that's there, it still stays there. So that shunning piece, it's bullying, like I said in my video last week. You know, the psychological consequences of being shunned, they have been explained as being a social death penalty. We as a society, we easily talk about other illnesses, other health issues, such as diabetes, heart disease, etc. But with mental health, it's not as easily discussed. And those suffering from it, rarely will they make mention of it. They always walk around with a happy, you know, smile on their face. They don't want to let anyone know that they're weak, or they don't want to feel like they're being crazy, you know, which is so far from it. It's just it's an illness, or it's like a stomach ache. It's like, you know, these other illnesses in our body, right? And more people are suffering from mental illness, you know, depression, hopelessness, helplessness, worthlessness, suicidal ideations, low self-esteem. A lot of this is triggered from the news, things that we see. But then, you know, in this discussion on being ostracized and being shunned from your family and your community that you've known your whole life, and having that kind of ripped away from you, there's a psychological consequence that happens to you that you don't even, you're so unprepared for. And I've experienced depression for various times of bullying. as I mentioned in my other video, bullying when I was going through school because I was Jehovah's Witness. And then when I was disfellowshipped at the age of 18, right after I got married, I was disfellowshipped, and to have I had no friends, no family, nobody could talk to me. It was a very strange time. It was very isolating, very alone. And then when I left the organization 10 years ago, I also just experienced this very, very alone thing. It's really damaging on a person. And more recently, I can share. So last year, I had my grandmother. She disassociated herself from me, and saying that she'll only talk to me once I return to the religion, which I've stated that I'm never returning. I don't believe in it anymore. How can I come back to something that I don't believe in? But anyway, so now she won't talk to me. So now she's shunning me. So anyways, last year that sent me into quite a dark place, and I'm learning how to deal with certain triggers that kind of bring on these really sad, kind of depressive states, right? So I understand very much how ostracism, shunning, disfellowshipping, all of these things are the same thing. That effect on a person's on a person psychologically is heavy. So when you don't have that community that's always been around you, it's gone. It's very harsh punishment that's doled out and actually encouraged by the Jehovah's Witness organization. They actually tell people that are members that this is how you need to treat your family that's left, or treat your friends, or treat people that have left. You don't associate with them. You don't talk to them. You don't text them. You don't email them. You don't phone them. So this is what the organization is telling people, to do this type of thing to people that have left the organization. So I was thinking, I'm like, well, because this made major headlines, right? This family, this murder-suicide of this Lauren Stuart killing her family, her 2 adult children, and even their dog and her husband, killing them all, and then killing herself. Made huge news. It's disruptive. It's sad. It's tragic. But I was thinking, will that help at all? Will Jehovah's Witness organization, will they actually make any changes? Will they actually take any responsibility for encouraging this type of practice, right? And I'm like, no, they won't. Will they? It's so highly doubtful that they'll ever make changes on this. This type of news story, what they'll look at it as is, well, this is what happens when you leave Jehovah, when you leave his organization, or you go against Jehovah. This is what happens. When you're part of Satan's world, you don't have the safety of Jehovah's organization. These are the type of things that they'll actually use, probably even in public talks. I'm sure they'll be writing about it right now, as to these are the consequences of if you leave. You're no longer under that protection of Jehovah. And these are just lies. These are lies that they use to keep their members in, and keep them in that fear mold of to prove that their ways are better, and to prove that we're in the last days. That's what they're trying to keep their organization clean. It's ridiculous. And saying that the only sanctuary is in Jehovah's organization. So no, they're not going to take any responsibility for this, for the results of their policies on shunning. These are their policies that they are encouraging their mass membership, that is falling, but their membership to ostracize, to shun others that have left. These friends of theirs that they love for many, many years. It's their community. Nope, can't talk to them, right? This is a definite result of it. And suicide on its own, it's not an uncommon news item, either as a Jehovah's Witness or as an ex-Jehovah's Witness. As a Jehovah's Witness, people that have lost their family because they have fallen away or whatever, those current active Jehovah's Witnesses, they no longer have their family. They are not allowed to talk to them. And a lot of times they will actually commit suicide. But then you have the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who have left, and they no longer have that supportive community, family, friends, and that's just completely torn away from them. And they'll commit suicide. They have this sense of loss that's so heavy and deep on them. So what can be done here? What can we take from this that we can possibly learn from? I'm putting it out there, like, if you've been disfellowshipped or you've shunned, I highly recommend seeing a counselor. I mentioned this in my last video, but I did that. I've done it a couple times where I'm like, I just got to talk to a neutral person about all this craziness that's going on. Like, all these people are shunning me and I haven't done anything. These things that are happening to us as a disfellowshipped or a shunned person. It's really important to talk these out, and to a neutral person and a counselor who knows how to, who has the tools to actually help you through it. It's really helpful. And there's a high likelihood, if you're shunned, if you're going through this, if you're considering leaving, there's a high likelihood that you will have some down and depressing times as you start to rebuild your life away from the Jehovah's Witness organization, away from that Jehovah's Witness life that you've known. And don't isolate yourself. Don't stay in your head. I mean, it's so easy to just stay in your head and think things through and all on your own, and it just becomes this whirlwind of darkness. So don't isolate yourself. Journaling is great. I've done that a lot. I still do. But you still are in your own head. Find someone else that you can talk to. So whether that's a counselor, like I said, there's also an app I've come across where, what's it called? BetterHelp, I think. I'll put the link below. And you can access this online. I think you can even have it on your phone as an app. And you can reach out to these counselors either through text or video and all that kind of stuff. Video meetings, that sort of thing. And then if you have friends or family to talk to, suggest going for coffee. I mean, just go for coffee, or you can simply say, you know what, I'm having a tough time. I need to get out of the house. Let's go for coffee, right? Most friends will, in an instant, say, whoa, they're having a tough time. Let's go. We got to go. If you're hearing that, my dog is snoring, so sorry. So yeah, get out of the house, get out of your head, talk to someone. And for friends, if you're a friend and you're kind of seeing some signs that your friends are struggling, they're kind of having they're not as happy as they've been, or they've mentioned a couple things, just be on the alert that you know what, they might need some extra attention. And all that might be is just sending a text, say, hey, how you doing? Let's chat. Or phoning them. Like, I know most people don't phone a whole lot anymore, but just like picking up the phone or just sending a quick text and saying, hey, let's meet up, it makes a world of difference. And clearly in the Stuart family case, her friend mentioned that Lauren was in emotional distress and she felt alone. So she obviously saw some signs there. And then there was a family member that called 911 to get the police to do a welfare check on them. I'm wondering where that family member was, but obviously there was some signs that the Stuart family was displaying that there were some flags going on there, right? And you know what, like without a suicide note or without a note from Lauren, we'll never know for sure what was really going on, why she chose to do this, what was actually really happening. We won't know this. I can only feel a sense of heavy sadness for what happened there. So with this video today, I just wanted to bring some recognition to the importance of mental health. And, it's something that really needs to be taken care of. Just like any other illness that's in our body, we don't ignore it, right? We look after it. We need to look after it because there's heavy consequences. And I'm not talking about murder, suicide. I'm just talking about consequences on our own selves of not taking care of ourselves, whether that's mental or other, but we're talking about mental health here. So anyways, thank you for being here today, and take care.